How perception creates your reality. Welcome to the Self Concept Bestie podcast. I'm your host, Laura. Today I had an interview and it got me thinking about perception. Not because of whether or not I got the job, but because I realised how differently I see things now compared to even just a year ago. We don't experience life. We experience our perception of life. Because when I came out of that interview, I didn't come out thinking, did they like me? Did I stumble on a question? Was there anything I forgot to mention? Did I show up as my best self? I walked out looking at the impact that I could make in this space. The opportunities that they maybe haven't explored yet. The potential of the role that I can bring. And also how much I've grown as a person. But when you think about it, somebody could have come out of that interview thinking all about where they went wrong instead of where they went right. The interview is the same event, but the perception of it changes everything. And I realised that that's life. It is actually life. Two people could walk into the same room and leave with two completely different stories. One person could leave thinking they didn't like me, where the other one could be thinking, I showed up as myself. Same room, different reality. It's all to do with the meaning that we give things. What's the story that we're creating to what's happening in our life? Think of the lack of messages from somebody. It could mean to somebody, oh, they're just busy, but it could also mean to somebody, oh, they're not interested. You don't actually know what's fact, but we keep on creating these stories that are always so negative. But it's all based around your perception, how your brain is seeing that. So what happens when we start looking at things from a different perception, through a different lens? And I think I've mentioned it in a previous episode, but there is a quote that I live by, especially now, and it's by Albert Einstein. And it's, you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So it's about looking at the problems, looking at our life. And we keep on doing the same things and getting the same results. I'm pretty sure Albert Einstein says that that's a form of insanity. If I'm right, I'll need to Google that. Because what if it's all got to do with our perception and the way that we're looking at it, the story that we're creating? And what happens when we change it? So whatever's happening in your life, what is the story that we're creating? Because I could have easily came out of that interview today and picked myself apart. Or I could have looked at the bigger picture of what I could achieve there. Because of my perception of who I am and how I see myself and how I'm choosing to see the world. We can look at life through the lens of nothing's going our way, that life's happening to us all the time and be a deep victim to our reality, or we can choose to see that's happening for us. We can learn and we can move forward and take a different approach. Look at it through a different lens, through a different perspective. People could go to an event and some people will think it's been amazing. Some people have took loads of information away and some people would think it's rubbish. But again, it's their perception through their own lens. It's like people reviewing holidays on TripAdvisor. I do not look at any sort of reviews. And I know some people listening might think that's completely mad, but I don't, because that's their perception that they're looking at that hotel. So for instance, if I'm going to Spain, I'm not expecting to go and get a Scottish cooked breakfast. I'm expecting to go and enjoy the culture and get some Spanish food. Whereas some reviews are, there wasn't any Scottish cooked breakfast available. Again, it's two different perspectives. That's actually, I don't want the Scottish cooked breakfast. Somebody else does. So these reviews are all based on somebody's perception, and we can't always look at that as accurate because that's their truth. It's their reality. That's not mine. And I think when you can actually stop letting others influence who you are and how you view things, it changes. And like I talk about near enough in every single episode, but when you build that trust within yourself, then your perception can shift. Because if you look at something, an issue you're having in life, you could look at it as a problem, or you could look at it as an opportunity to learn. We're always wanting to focus on what could go wrong, but what if we start focusing on what could go right? What if this disaster that's happening now is actually building you up for something bigger? That could be the best thing that actually happened. You're in the middle of it. You don't actually know that. You know, when you're in it, you're like, it's not good. But what if in that moment you choose to believe, you know what, I know this is going to work out. That I know no matter what is happening right now, there is light at the end of that tunnel. That it can actually work out for me. So I want you to ask yourself, what if the thing that you're worried about isn't the problem? What if it's the way you're looking at it? Just have a real think about that. And also, where in your life have you decided something means something negative? And ask what else could be true. So whatever is currently happening right now, and you're putting this big negative meaning onto it, counter it. Ask yourself, is this the absolute truth? Do I know full certainty that it is absolute truth? And challenge your brain. What else could be true? What else could be happening that I'm missing? And when you start to interrupt the spiral of the negative and you start asking questions like, well, what else could be true? And start giving yourself other options, guess what? Your brain will start to look for evidence of that. Our brains love to prove us right. If you keep on saying that you're not good enough, guess what? Your brain's going to be like, yep, you're right. I'm going to prove to you that you're not good enough. And it's going to keep on showing you things. It's going to keep registering that as a fact. There was actually a content creator that I was watching. I'm going to need to look up the study that was done. But it was about lucky people and unlucky people. And they took two groups of unlucky people and lucky people, and they gave them the same newspaper. All of them had the same newspaper. And they were given a question, and it was, find how many images, like in total, are in this newspaper. And the lucky people were finished in 2 minutes. And the unlucky people weren't. And do you want to know what the difference was? The unlucky people were going through counting every single image. But on page 2 of this newspaper, in big bold writing, said there are 42 images in this newspaper. The lucky people had seen that. Their brain had registered that right away. So it's not that the evidence isn't there. The evidence is always there. But it's whether or not your beliefs are allowing your brain to pick that up. So the unlucky people didn't see that. Their brain didn't register it. It was there. But because of their beliefs and how their perception sits, They didn't see that. They counted all of the pictures. Whereas the lucky people's brains allowed them to register it. And that is all around perception. Two groups of people, same newspaper, different outcomes, different perceptions. Pretty incredible, right? You know, when you think about that, there is actually areas in your life that will be showing you that you are good enough. But because deep down you don't believe it, your perception of that is you're only picking up on the things that make you not good enough. It's only what is allowing you to register. So for us to start allowing our brain to register something different, we need to start looking at it differently. We need to start thinking a bit differently about the meaning of it and challenging ourselves. What else could this mean? Because nothing is a hard actual fact. You think about something that you know to be 100% truth. Let's say your birthday, the date that you were born. That's 100% truth, isn't it? But why is it that is 100% truth? It's because you've got a piece of paper, your mum and dad told you that was the day you were born, and on your birth certificate, that's the date that is on it. But what happened if, just say in 20 years, your mum re-looks at this? She's like, oh no, actually, it was the day before you were born. That's been an error all of that time. What happens to that hard, solid truth that you've believed all your life? It's not, because it was actually the day before. And I know you might be thinking, right, that's not going to happen, Laura, but it's an extreme example, shall we say. Because we believe what's true because we've been told, because that's the perception of what we believe. But is it actually hard truth? So when we start creating all these stories of meaning with situations or people in our life, what perception are we looking from it? What happens if we look at it a little bit different? What will actually start to change? Because I've even noticed myself how I'm now reacting to different things, how I view things, because of all of this internal work I've been doing. Now it just seems natural. And the biggest thing for me that I've noticed, a big shift in myself, is my internal voice is different. And I'm not saying that one day I woke up and it just, well, kind of did, but there was a lot of days where it was loud, it was negative, and I was really having to challenge back and just really ask, is this true? But one day I remember I was sitting and I looked myself in the mirror. And I'd just blow dried my hair. It was so frizzy. I was just, that way where I was like, I looked at the mirror and I was like, oh my God, Laura, you look like crap. But something miraculous happened. A voice came in my head and went, no, you're not. You're absolutely beautiful, Laura. You don't speak to yourself like that. And I thought, oh my God, it's there. All of this work that I've been doing, it's flipped. My brain isn't automatically going to all of the negatives. Actually, when I do look at myself negatively, it's like, nope. Now, how many of you is listening is it the opposite? That it's very easy for us to focus on the negatives. But when something else positive, like if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I look beautiful today. How often does that voice though come in and be like, no, you're not. Who do you think you are? What happens when that's flipped around? That actually the person that you're seeing, the way that you're speaking to yourself is with love and with kindness, that we so freely give away to everybody else, but we don't give it to ourselves. When we change that inner critic to look at yourself through a positive lens, through a different light, what happens to the world around us? We start seeing beauty and things a lot more easier. We build up that relationship with ourselves, that trust within ourselves, and really realise who we are. And how empowering is it when actually your inner critic's your biggest cheerleader? And there's times where I've sat and I look at people and I'm like, I just wish I could show you yourself through my lens, through my perception, and how incredible you are. And that's what I think everybody deserves. They deserve to see their beauty, their worth, inside and out, what they bring. We're going to have doubts, of course we are. Life isn't quote unquote perfect. But their perception and how we view it can change how we feel. Because when you think about it, have you ever noticed like two people can experience the exact same thing, but they'll tell completely different stories? Because it's all about their perception. And for me, that excites me. This kind of stuff excites me because you're telling me that if I actually just start asking a couple of different questions, I start challenging myself, if I start rewriting what I know to be true, I can change what my brain picks up. Because it's not that it's not there, it's just it's not been given the permission yet to register it. This is the exact work that we do in the community. Challenging this inner critic, challenging the perception, how we view things. And if you're ready to step in to who you know you've always been in the life that you deserve, then go ahead and click onto the website below. But make sure to download the free guide, the 5 signs your subconscious is keeping you stuck. It's totally free and it's downloaded immediately right onto your device. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, today has already been an amazing day.